Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. We're going to be taking a look at the new May kit from the Hedgehog Hollow and a card. Hello. We're going to go over the May kit from the Hedgehog Hollow real quick. Everything that's included in the kit. First off, it is a collaboration with Stampin' Storage. And if y'all have watched me for very long, you know that I'm a huge fan of Stampin' Storage. I have their inks and their ink organizers that I use on for all of my ink pads, all the hundreds of ink pads that I have. Shh, don't tell nobody. I have them for my markers, my washi tape. I have the organizers for my paper, and I actually need to order some more for my paper. So I absolutely love Stampin' Storage stuff, and it is a mom and pop shop, so I think that is amazing, especially this time of the year. Let's go over what's in the kit really quick. So we have Stampin' Storage's little trash waste thing that you can put on right on the side of your desk and just sweep all of your little trash into it. We have a couple of other things from Stampin' Storage. We have their stamp card. This is a package of 12 of their stamp cards. They are crystal clear, and one thing that I have found that I absolutely love to do with these is I am able to actually use this with my Misty and a stamp to figure out positioning. So I have an already stamped image behind here, already in here, and I need to put a sentiment on here. I can put that sentiment where I think it's going to be and line it up and stamp it on here and see what approximately it's going to look like on my actual card front without actually stamping it on my card front, because then I can just take this away and do what I need to do or move it, either one. The other thing that you can do with this is, as you are working with stamps, so you have a couple of different stamps from a couple of different sets, you can add these to it and just set these in front of you. That way you know what stamps you're going to be using for that particular project. That's one thing to do with this. Also, you can, let's say you lose the backing to your stamp, you can put this on there and slip it in a pocket. You can actually use this as your storage method for your stamps if you wanted to. The other thing that's in here from Stampin' Storage is the pockets, the 6x7 pockets. These are tabbed pockets. They can go in one of their crates. Let's see if I can find one real quick. They have little crates that you can, well, that's what I have for my paper, is that right there. But I was actually, yeah, one of those things. You can see how they have the tabs in there, so you can put your dies in here on a magnetic sheet if you wanted to. One thing that I really like to do with these is actually put my projects in here. So I have all the stuff that I need for, let's say I stopped working on a project midstream there. I got my images stamped, and I still have my stamps and dies that I'm going to use for this project in here, but I couldn't get to it at that point in time. So I just stuffed everything inside of this nice little pocket here. The other thing that I have used them for, and yes, I have stuff hung on a wall over here. I have all of my foil quill foils. So see, these are in little folders here, and I keep them in the folder so I know what colors they are, and I can just slip them down in there. And then I can put them up with the rest of my foils on a roll there. The other thing that you can use this for is to store your stencils. I have my Gina K in here. I still have the original packaging just because I didn't have any way to store my stencils. Well, now I do. I can put my stencils in one of these. So I really like these little pockets. And then there is the hefty duty 5x7 magnet card. Now this right here, honestly, is a little too much for me to store for like my dies and stuff in my storage. However, this particular card right here would be great for you to put your dies on your work surface. So as you're working, Ta-da! And then you can set that wherever you need to on your work surface and collect your dies and keep them all in one place as you're working. That's something that you can do with that. I'll set that to the side. Now, from Hedgehog Hollow, we have a couple different things here. We have some beautiful, it's 12 sheets, 2 different of each, 6 different patterns of patterned paper. Some really beautiful designs in here. Let me flip this over because they are double-sided, so it's a little bit different on the other side. So you have some beautiful patterned papers here. Everybody's at home, so everybody kind of figured we could organize some stuff right now. Let's look at the stencil. So we have some basic shapes, circles, stars, hearts, and flower shapes. And then we have a color wheel shape as well for stencils. And then we have some organizing stamps. Now, this stamp set, there was a problem with manufacturing, unfortunately. They stamp perfectly fine. They're just going to be a little bit thicker than your normal stamps, and you're going to have to cut them apart. So you're not going to hurt them. They did not, the blank space didn't come out on the manufacturing part of it. And a lot of this had to do with manufacturing because these were manufactured about the time that everybody went into lockdowns and quarantines and social distancing, and a lot of places were shut down and that kind of thing. So we apologize for that. The stamps still work just fine. I have used them a gazillion times at this point. It's a circle, heart, stars, and different shapes and flower shapes here. Let me put this back on here. And then there's also some sentiments on here. My craft room isn't messy. I just have everything on display. Creativity is messy, and I'm very creative. A lady never discusses the size of her craft stash. And then there's some organizing stuff: manufacturer, brand, series, ink, liquid, pigment, dye, name, and then some lines here as well. Now, I have actually made cards with the stamp set, and then there's also some organizing things like some ink swatches, and I believe Carrie's taking care of showing you how to do some ink swatches with these. And I have used this kind of solid stamp always to do my ink swatches, and my circle stamp, and I have like a hexagon or octagon or something that I used on mine, and I have worn those stamps out, I think. So I'm happy to have some new ones, and that's the video for today, going over what and giving you some ideas that you can use for the latest and greatest of the Hedgehog Hollow May kit. Thanks for joining me. All right, let's jump in and get this card made here. I used the circle stamp from the May kit, and I am doing a very geometric inspired card. I'm doing an ombre effect from dark to light with 3 different sets of inks. 2 sets are going to be from scrapbook.com, and 1 set is going to be from Altenew. Nope, I take that back. 2 sets are from Altenew, and 1 set is from scrapbook.com. And they, both of those are the best inks to do this with, just because they have the dark to light, and you don't have to worry about finding inks that are in the same color family and all that kind of stuff. Just simply done. So I am counting 3 squares across as I'm doing this, so that I can get proper spacing on my inks here, all my circles here all the way across. I am double and triple stamping some of the images so I get a good solid image. I'm also going to use the clear stamp panel that I showed you at the beginning from Stampin' Storage, and that's going to allow me to place my stamp in the appropriate place for the next row down. Instead of me moving my paper, I'm moving my stamp, because it's a whole lot easier for me, even using a MISTI, to scoot across the bottom than it is to scoot across the bottom and move across the top. So I'm only moving across the bottom there instead of going up and over at the same time. So it's just easier this way. So I have my stamp placement done. I am using the violet inks from Altenew for this row here, and I'm cleaning them off in between. Solid stamps, such as the ones that are included in this kit, I do like to condition them a little bit before I use them. There's a couple different ways to do that. You can clean it off really well and then just put ink on it and stamp off a couple times. For large surface, solid surface stamps, I like to actually put Versamark ink on them and wipe it off with my hand because it doesn't come off completely. When you have a large surface, solid surface stamp such as these, the water-based ink likes to beat up on them just a little bit, so your images tend to get a little fuzzy and you don't get a good solid image on it. It's kind of like stamping on this clear big sheet here. It just doesn't want to hold the ink. So keep in mind always with your photopolymer stamps and even your red rubber stamps that are big solid images like this, the more you use them, the better they're going to stamp. The better the image quality is going to be. So definitely stamp more with them before you actually go to your project. Stamp a couple times off on some scrap paper. That's going to give you the best results. And it's just because that stamp is brand new and it doesn't know it's supposed to hold ink yet. So any good quality photopolymer stamp and even red rubber stamps need conditioning sometimes to make sure that they hold ink evenly across the surface of it. So keep that in mind as you're stamping. So to finish off this card, I went ahead and I stamped this the three different colors here, 3 different rows, but notice it's in a square. So I went ahead and die cut this out using some Spellbinders. These are the card builder kit dies, and I just picked one that fit over this in a square evenly, and I die cut that using my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. And then I'm also going to go up a size and do a black matte behind this to make this color really pop. Then I went ahead and I pulled out a Hedgehog Hollow sentiment from a couple months back, and it's a sentiment sheet and it has the Inspire and Girlfriend and I don't remember which month it was, but I'll include it in the description and in the links below. And I used the sentiment You Inspire Me, and I just white heat embossed that on some black cardstock. The finished size of this card is 5x5, and I just glued the panel with the stamping on it to the black cardstock, and then I'm going to pop up the black panel with some foam tape from scrapbook.com. And I also add, as a finishing touch, some glitter Nuvo drops that are the clear ones, so the glitter shows through, but the drop itself is clear. So it's really pretty and still very, very plain and fits very well with the theme of the card. A tip for Nuvo drops. I've had and seen lots of videos on Nuvo drops being clumpy or not settling, not evening out into round pretty drops. Put them under your arm or under your leg while you're sitting there for a few minutes and warm them up. Get them close to body temperature and they will even out perfectly, no problems. And we're going to do the sentiment real quick, and like I said, I just white heat embossed this, and then I'm going to trim it out with my Tim Holtz paper trimmer. Not anything fancy for this, just literally a white heat embossed sentiment on black cardstock. Don't forget to use your anti-static powder tool. And I square up my panel on my craft mat and use the line on my block to line that up so that I get it straight. There's nothing fancy about that. I just use the visuals that are in front of me to square everything up on my mat and on my projects. I like using my mat a lot better than depending on like my Misty or a square ruler, you know, a T-square ruler or something like that. I just have gotten in the habit of using my mat to square things up very easily. So I'm going to trim this out and put this and glue it directly down to the card front here, and then we're going to add the Nuvo drops, and that's going to finish off this really simple, beautiful card that I used just a simple circle stamp for. Don't forget to check out the other videos, organizing tips and techniques for this month's kit from the Hedgehog Hollow. Don't forget to get your May kit from the Hedgehog Hollow. And also the stamp set that's included with this, you're going to have to cut that apart due to some manufacturing issues. It's not a big deal. Don't be scared of it. You're not going to hurt anything. Just cut around the stamped images with a pair of sharp scissors and it'll be very, very easy. And I had no problems whatsoever stamping with any of these for this month. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this card and give it a try for some simple things. I bet it would be beautiful with the flowers that are the flower stamp that's included with this. Have a great day.